It is the 11th hour. Well, I guess it's actually really the 8th hour, but Planet Fitness closes at 9. I was gonna go to a different gym, but they closed at 8, and by the time I woke up from my nap, it was already like, you know, 6:55. And I'm like, yeah, I'm still a little groggy. I'll just wait a little bit. So, just another benefit of multiple gym memberships. If some of them have funky hours, the other ones can kind of pick up the slack. But I kind of went on a little Planet Fitness rant before. They got a pull down, they got cable rows, they got normal cable stacks plus a couple of machines that I like. I can get a perfect back workout at Planet Fitness. The only thing that kind of bugs me a little bit is when I have to do chest there. Because I really, well, honestly, it kind of depends on the Planet Fitness. I've gone to some that have really cool. They're almost like a. I almost want to say like a Planet Fitness Plus, because they have a couple of different machines, like these pretty good individually loaded, like chest press stacks, or kind of like pull downs, like those old, not old, but like those really big hammer strength ones. Whatever. Basic gist is this is going to be a good back pump. So 7:57 now. I'm already getting some beta alanine from the Samsulic Select Hostile Pre Hostility Foundation. You guys ate that up. That disappeared in like 30 minutes. I'm sure they'll do a restock of it, but it's got the beta alanine in it already, like I like. The other two pre's that they have, the Hostility and the Bloodshot. I still do a little bit of Bloodshot with the with like the Samsulic one, but they don't have beta alanine in them already, and I kind of want that. Obviously, I don't just want the tingle sensation. That doesn't really do anything for me. It's actually a little bit annoying, but you know, beta alanine, when you take it for a consistent period, you do get a little bit of well, studies show. I know it's weird coming from me to say studies show, but you do get a little bit of extra training endurance on your sets. And you know what that sounds to me like? You know what that whatever, you know what I'm saying. That sounds like harder sets, better lifts, better pumps. Come on. That is right up my freaking alley. So, I could I was about to say I want to start on pull downs, but I've kind of got into a habit of starting all my back days with pull downs. So I think in the spirit of changing it up, I should probably start off with some rows of some kind. That might be a little bit better. I don't know. I'll see. Either way, the lift is going to be kind of a back and forth. But sometimes I kind of change that up too. I don't do a dedicated like lat focused day and then a dedicated like mid back traps, Terry's major rhomboids focus kind of day. Every back day, I usually just try to get a complete back pump with a relatively even amount of work for my lats and my, upper back traps, whatever. Some days I do a little more rows, some days I do a little more pull downs, but for the most part, I think hitting it like that, it's not the worst way to go about it. But I, eh, you know, at the end of the lift, I feel like I want to have a complete pump. It's the whole point of the pump check. So that kind of makes me think that I want to do a few sets of really lat bias stuff like pull downs and pullovers, and then go back and forth between those and rows. So when I'm done, my whole back is just fully pumped. But then, part of me thinks maybe I should just get all my lat work or all my direct lat work out of the way before I finish my, rows at the end. But no matter how you go about it, as long as you get your good pull down sets in, plus your rows, you have a good lift, you get a good pump, you know that you actually pushed yourself hard. Everything else, sets, reps, and RPEs and AMREP or any other fancy terminology, It's kind of just, I think that can sort of cloud your mind when it comes to your approach in the gym. I don't see anything wrong with not even knowing what reps in reserve means. And just going into the gym and making sure that every one of your sets, you seriously pushed it hard. When it comes to training to failure, I think that can get a little bit misconstrued sometimes, because on my really heavy sets, on my like incline bench, I need to get a spotter or else I'm gonna get smushed. Heavy squats, I need those safeties so I can rest it when I can't get the weight back up. So training to failure, sometimes specific movements will let you train to failure, and other ones you kind of have to just train to satisfaction. So, like I was saying, with a bench or a squat, it's not very hard to, do a lot of weight and get to a point where you physically just cannot do another rep. Same thing with like dumbbell curls, or what's another good one? Whatever, any pressing stuff like that. You can hit a wall where it's like, all right, I physically can't do another rep, or at least you're like right on the cusp of not being able to do another one. Maybe you had one in the tank, but you couldn't get it out. But with other movements like leg extensions or leg curls, tricep push downs, side laterals, pec flies, with those kind of movements, you can kind of just keep pumping out partials a little bit. So I could reach a point doing lat pull downs where I can no longer pull the bar all the way down to like chin height, but that doesn't mean that the set is done, because I could still get it to, nose height for maybe two, and then maybe, you know, brim height, top of the head, a couple inches above, and just keep on forcing reps until I can really only move the bar a couple of inches. I like those. I like doing the weighted, not even weighted, but I like doing the partials at the end of a set once I can no longer do complete reps. But that's the kind of set where instead of, okay, I physically can't do another rep, I'm done. The set's over. That was failure. With a set like that, that's like, okay, I get to my last rep and I know, okay, that was a good one. I can put it down now. So when it comes to being able to call a set and say to yourself, okay, that was good. I did enough partials of leg extensions. That was a good one. That's where you kind of have to not be a chump and actually push yourself. Because I could do a set of pull downs, and I could, or I mean, I guess if you're training with your buddy or whatever, you could probably pretend to hit failure. You could pretend to do a hard set and just be like, oh, that was a good one. But you had like 10 reps in reserve. Oh my goodness. Pretending to do a hard set. Holy shit. I've never thought of anything more preposterous. Oh my god. Holy shit. Okay. 8:04. I'm like 3 minutes out. Let's just park, get in there, get warm, and then jump to the first working set. So, can't completely break the pull down habit, but I'm going to change it up a little bit and try this single arm loaded one. Seems funky enough, but honestly, the only reason I'm doing this one is because the other pull downs were taken, so this is all I had access to. But after the first few warm up sets, I think it'll still feel pretty good. Okay. Oh, oh my goodness. Let's do normal pull downs. That was a good set, but I think I know why I haven't been doing this style before. This is back to my speed. But since I did that set already with the full stack, I didn't have to do any warm-ups here. I can just jump straight into my working weight. Because I'm exposed to, heavy weights with my lats. So even though it's a different handle, it's the same basic movement. No need to waste time doing extra feelers if you don't need to. Oh my gosh. Let's go move on to a machine row. That was pretty good. This row is kind of funky, but I like it. I wish, no, it's a pretty good weight. I think full stack. And since it is a weight that I can handle pretty well, I want to make sure for the first few reps when I'm strong and fresh that I get an extra squeeze and hold and really try to, wrench it. But once I get weak enough that I can't really get, all the way to the top of the rep, I'll still get some partials in. You know what I need? A cough drop. That'd be nice right now. One more. Okay. All right, 2 sets of pull down style movements, 2 sets of rows. Let's go back to something lat biased. I'm thinking pullovers, but I'm also thinking, oh shucks, all the cables over there are taken. So let me do some calculations in my mind and decide where to go next. I think some single arm pullovers will be good. And since I'm kind of not really strapped for time, I mean, we're more than halfway done with the lift and it's only 8:36, but it kind of triggers my OCD in a way, because you got to think, if I sit here and I do a one arm movement, like if I do my right side first and I do like 20 reps and I do 20 on the left, by the time that I move on to whatever the next movement is, my right arm got like an extra 30-second of rest, or my right side did. So that kind of makes me prefer, double-sided movements, or at least like kind of rest pause style, which I'm gonna do here. So instead of just doing my whole right side and then my whole left, I'll do like 5 reps on the right, switch 5 on the left, and then go back and forth like that. So apart from the fact that it's just a different style of set, which I want to change my training up set by set, day by day, whatever, it also just kind of makes me a little more comfortable, because I know when I move on to the next set of pull downs or something, both my lats are pretty much evenly worked, and one isn't extra fresh from being trained like 30 seconds earlier. Now, I might just be nitpicking, but that's just what's going on in my brain. One more. Okay. Okay. I think that's enough of that. Another cue that I always try to think about on any kind of back movement, be it rows, pull downs, pullovers, whatever, is as I get to whatever the straightened position is, I want my shoulder blades to stretch out as I'm doing the rep. Like if I'm doing those pull downs, you know, pull down, whatever, but as I'm coming up, I want my shoulder blades to open up like I'm doing a fucking lat spread and then contract. Same thing with rows. I want them to really open up and then contract. And then obviously same thing with these pullovers. Open up, contract. If you can kind of imagine that going on your with your scapula, get some scapular retraction, image training, you'll be able to do the sets better, you know? I feel like being able to, I did a whole rant about this in the last post-lift car talk, being able to kind of envision your anatomy while you're doing your sets, I swear you're going to be a better lifter if you can figure that out. So, whatever, keep that in mind. But let's move on to, I don't know. Really, at this point, I feel like I can do whatever. I could do some rows, I could do some pull downs. As long as I go hard, I know I'm going to finish off this lift well. I think some moderate weight seated rows will feel pretty nice. So with this set, I'm not just going to try to move around as much weight as possible and fatigue my back in that way, which I do like, but I'm going to be a little more methodical about it and really try to touch my elbows behind my back. Like as I get to this top position where I can't move the bar anymore, partially due to strength, but also partially due to the fact that, I mean, my lats are like literally getting in the way of my fucking range of motion. But as I get to that top point, when at least in the first few reps when I'm fresh, just like on those machine rows, I want to really squeeze, right, and feel my shoulder blades try to, you know, bump into each other in my, well, on my back. But enough of that. Let's just play something and hit it. Okay. Let's let's finish with a little bit of a drop slash superset. I guess I'll explain it in a moment. Like I was saying in the car, you know, I do want to finish the day with a full-on back pump. So doing this sort of combination style super slash drop set, that fills that ticket order quite nicely. So 5 reps on one side with these rows, 5 on the other, back and forth, until I feel like I've done enough. And then burn out with pull downs. And I mean, fuck dude, I like this shirt. I don't want to split it right down the middle, but that is kind of the goal. Not that I think it'll happen, but a healthy amount of delusion will help you have some good ass lifts. Okay. Oh, fuck. Okay. Oh my goodness. Let's get out of here, dog. Let's go check this pump. Eh, people are leaving, so the locker room's probably full. Let's just go pose down over here in the open air. I'd say usually pose down right in the weight section of a Planet Fitness. Kind of an asshole, but it's dead in here. You know, who cares? Whew. All right, let's get that exposure down just a touch. Run through some mandatory lat spreads and double buys, and get my ass back to the house to scarf down some treats. There's half of a birthday cake in the kitchen. It was nobody's birthday. I don't know why my parents bought it. But I think I'm no psychic, but in a couple hours, fairly certain that thing is going to disappear. And all those carbs, guess where they're headed? Right into these freaking lats, traps, probably a little bit of buys just because even though I do use straps, which help a ton, it is a little bit tricky to keep your biceps completely out of your pulling movements. Even when you're, I'd say, an advanced lifter like myself. I'd go so far as to say semi-advanced. Oh. Oh. So you see that gap between my lats and my forearms? I want that to disappear. I want to get to the point where if I see a bear coming at me, I forget if it's... Fuck, what? Shit, I don't know. Is it you fight off a black bear, but you play dead with a brown bear? Either way, I want to get to the point where I see one coming. Let's just recreate this. Boom, scare him off. That would be nice. But, all right, let's keep going. Yeesh. All right, now just same thing in reverse. Oh. Oh my goodness. All right. Back has been completed. Back is pumped. Back's fatigued. Back has been trained in a way that I think when I go home and freaking fill my belly up with all sorts of carbs, fats, and proteins, that it's going to result in some muscle growth. Oh, but that should be obvious. So, nothing else to say. Let's just pack up, roll. Solid Planet Fitness trip. Oh, perfect. I was in a standoff with the guy parked in front of me for, whether or not one of us was going to be able to pull through or back up. And it looks like I won. Very nice. So, solid back day, man. What else can I say? Solid rows. That first set of pull downs with the 2 individual D handles, not the biggest fan. It was a good set. Don't get me wrong, but certainly not my favorite. Kind of just had to jump on that one out of necessity. My basic survival instincts to get all the volume that I wanted to do, combined with the fact that the gym was closing, I didn't have unlimited time. It kind of made me jump the gun and do a movement which I don't necessarily love. But that's good for you. That's probably good for you to do some movements out of the ordinary. At least, out of the ordinary for your general style of training. Just to make sure it doesn't get stale. I don't necessarily think that inside of my muscles, if I do a movement that I haven't done for a while, they're like, holy fuck, Sam, you're shocking me. Like an Arnold style, you gotta shock the muscle. But you do gotta think, man, your body is fucking... anything that's alive, it's pretty good at adapting, and who's the top dog on planet Earth. I've made this statement before. We've been floating around for a pretty long time. Okay, your body is not just like, holy crap, a one set of pull downs. I better grow my lats to astronomical proportion to be able to handle this kind of stuff. Oh man, your body is tough, and sometimes not in the ways that are conducive with muscle growth. Because as you get better at lifting, as you get more exposed to weight and you can do harder sets and whatnot, you also kind of become more efficient at it. You get diminishing returns the longer and the longer you lift. So, as a beginner, you've never done this shit before. Holy fuck, man. My lats are blown up. I mean, potentially month to month changes. If you're training hard, you're eating your food. But as you lift, it becomes a little slower, a little slower. So that's when you really got to try to make sure you're constantly battling yourself in terms of making sure that your training is on point. Not just in terms of style. Honestly, I think that comes second to making sure that your training is intense. I think for this whole bulk, or even for the last few bulks, or even just any dude, if they had a workout plan that was the same for every lift, like if you did, let's say, 3 sets of incline bench, then 2 sets of incline dumbbell, and 2 sets of pec flies, I think that'd be a good workout. And if every time you did a chest day like that, you made sure you really pushed yourself, all your sets were sufficiently hard, you were actually going to failure, you were, increasing weight over time, progressively overloading, dude, I think you could get a pretty solid chest. Actually, no, I think you definitely can get a solid chest doing the same workout back to back to back, as long as the intensity is there. Now, do I think that's the best case scenario? Probably not. That's why I make sure all my lifts are just a touch different, sometimes very different if I really want to change it up. But that's just kind of goes to show, or at least I'm trying to convey the fact that your intensity is really what's going to determine whether or not you have a good lift. I could get, Mr. So-and-so, greatest bodybuilding coach in the world, to write me a training routine. And, well, of course, I guess if I had somebody do that, they would tell me, like, okay, make sure this set is intense. But let's say they just gave me exercises. Let's say they just gave me exercises and reps. Like, do 10 reps of bench, 10 reps of incline, whatever. Let's say they just gave me that. And it was perfect. They gave me the perfect amount of, sets and reps and movements and orders and whatever. And, like, they told me to do some supersets too. But if when I did those sets, I didn't do a weight that was hard, it was very manageable, and I was just going through the motions, I would get nothing out of it. It's not very difficult to just, do lifts, go to the gym, and just be maintaining the build that you have. Like the difference between progressing and just maintaining and plateauing, it's not insane. So that's where, even if you think you're pushing it, you should probably try to step on the gas a little bit further, see if you can get your RPMs a little closer to 7,000. I know you've been cruising at 3. If you look the same from year to year or month to month, then clearly something's not working. Now, I guess if your goal is maintenance and you're already at your goal physique, then I guess you're spoiled. You're living the life. Some of us, we've got an addiction to mass that may never be satisfied. But that's the whole point, man. What worthwhile journey comes to an end like that? I can't think of one. I cannot think of one. So, yeah, I just got to go home, get some sweets. Made a big-ass liter of Gatorade powder I've been sipping on. Probably going to finish that up. Maybe do some egg whites. It's been a little while since I've had eggs. I've been doing a lot of steaks, and I've been leaning towards steaks and protein powder the last couple days. I want to get some more whole proteins. So not only do I want to change up my exercise selection, I want to change up my protein consumption as well. I don't want to sit here and just do the same diet day after day. And following the same analogy I just got at about how I could do the same lift week after week, split after split, and get results. I could eat the same food day after day, and I'd still gain weight for sure. It's just not as fun. I want to eat what I want. make sure I plug it in and have it hit my macro goal for the day, of course. But assuming that I do hit my, X amount of carbs, fats, and proteins, and I do want to make sure all my proteins are from a high quality source. You're not going to catch me getting 250 grams worth of soy protein per day. Now, if you're soy pilled, fuck man, keep going. But I'm gonna go ahead and keep eating my beef, eggs, milk. You know the deal. You know the freaking deal. So I think that's all I gotta say, man. Apart from the fact that the dry air is chapping my lips, everything is going quite well. So let's just keep this bulk going for the next. Uh, don't even get me started on predicting how long it's gonna be. Back in like day 50 of the spring bulk earlier this year, I was like, "Hey, we'll go to day 100 and then be done." Went a little further than that, but I guess we'll just have to see. Either way, at the end of it, I I don't want to be able to fit in the clothes that I'm wearing right now. That is for sure. So, cardio in the morning, arm day tomorrow. Make sure you have a good fuck man, just have a good day. And when I say have a good day, I really mean have a good lift. I think you know that. So I'll freaking see you tomorrow.